G'day guys, James here. Today I'm going to be reviewing Ego's new Powerhead multi-tool range that they've got. Basically, what it is, this is the Powerhead, and up here you can drop in different attachments. So here we are guys, here's the full range that goes with this Powerhead unit. You've got the 5 different attachments. You've got the hedger, you've got the chainsaw, whippersnipper, brush cutter, edger, and then you also got these extension poles for some of those longer reach sort of things with the chainsaw for popping off branches and things like that. Now at the bar oil, it's a matter of popping this end cap off, and then I can lock that one into position and just tighten this little screw up here. Then we should be good to go. Okay, so out on location here, you can see behind me there's a nice big tree branch there that's caught up the top. I'll use that pole chainsaw extension bit to see if I can cut that branch that it's caught on, just to get that to drop down. And then down below it there's a lot of loose shrubbery that I'll use with the brush cutter to come through and tidy that up, and even some weeds there that we'll do some whippersnippering with. What I'll do now is just chop that down into a few pieces and make it into a bit of firewood that we can use. Now I don't know why I'm using these things either, because it's battery powered and the noise is really minimal, so get rid of those. Put the glasses on and we're good to go. I've got the high branches, I can just take the extension pole out. You just still use it like a normal chainsaw. It's chopping through those, big 6-inch branches, no worries at all. So nice sharp chain, does the trick. There you go. Generally speaking, you wouldn't use this pole chainsaw for chopping through those big 6-inch logs like that. You'd use a standard chainsaw, but just goes to show how powerful it is and the work that it can do. It's also handy for when you're in around a little scrubby area like this. If you don't want to walk all the way in around the bushes, you're going to have to just reach over and just knock some of those branches off. So just for that extra bit of reach, it comes in quite handy. All right, I might get in there now with the brush cutter and cut away some of that shrubbery just to make it easier to pick up some of this firewood. All right, now we've got the brush cutter head. Where the brush cutter comes in handy is just for knocking down some of those bigger shrubs. Go, the old whippersnipper in use. You got the bump feet on the end, which I like, but getting into this long grass here, it's really good. Great little whippersnipper, good little all-rounder. All right, now the last tool I'm going to try out is the edger. So you can see I've got a pretty decent sort of hedge here behind me. I won't need the extension pole on it for this. I'll show you how I knock it back and then just trim off the top of that. So that's the joy of having this one here, is it's adjustable, so you can swing it over to 90 degrees, 45, 135, whatever you want, just so you can get to those hard to reach places. So let's take a look. So there you go guys, you got to see the tool in action. Now let's talk a little bit more about each individual item. What I've got here is the actual skin itself. So for the Powerhead, it runs off 56 volts and it'll take the full range of Ego batteries. So at the moment I've got a 2 amp hour in there, but you can take up to the 7.5 amp hour and all the range in between. Now, I believe it might be out in the States and coming out soon here in Australia. They're also going to have a backpack battery attachment that'll plug into all their tools. So that's something to keep an eye on as well, which is a good little feature. The 56 volts, 2-speed, low speed and high speed, brushless motor, so you're going to get a long life out of these things. And you got the coupler attachment at the end here. So basically it's just a quick release, you push down, and then you just slide your attachment in or out, and then just tighten it up on the side here. So quite a good little nifty device there. And that's all solid. There was no real movement when I was using it, so quite happy with how that's turned out. Not much else to say about this. That's the skin itself. Then you'll buy those attachments separately. So let's take a closer look at each individual attachment now. All right, now we've got the brush cutter. This is a 300mm cutting width, that's overall. The attachment itself, they all come with these little plastic sleeve on the end just to keep any sort of dirt and sand and stuff out of there. You've actually got to watch that because I dropped one in the end down there when I was doing some chainsaw cutting, and it just got a little bit of grit in there. So just be careful when you put these things down, or keep these with you that they go on when they're not in use. 1.8 something kilos, so reasonably light. Spins at about between 5,000 and 6,000 RPMs a minute, no load speed, so a little bit less. The good thing about this is getting into that sort of thicker stuff, so up to say 25 mil, you can just go through and mow that down. You probably saw from that last video with the whippersnipper, you get into some of that longer stuff, it tends to get tangled up in around the head. The brush cutter just makes easy work of that, it just slashes it down. So yep, so that's our little brush cutter, and this little attachment. All right, and next is the edger. Now it's got a nice little wheel there, so you can use that for a guide as you're going along. I'm not a huge fan of the edger, to be honest. I think they're a little bit dangerous with the stones and things that they can sort of throw up. You might have seen from the video some of the sparks that fly off, but look, everyone has a different application, so an edger might be your thing, that type of thing. 200mm is the actual overall cutting wheel. You'll get a 75mm depth cut out of that. And I think from memory it weighs about 2.26 kilos is the weight of that attachment there. So yeah, not much else to say about that. It's an edger. If you need one, grab one. All right, then next we have the line trimmer. 38cm cutting diameter on this one. It's got the bump feed, so you whack that down and the line will come out. Weight of this, 1.59 kilos, so nice and lightweight, pretty easy to use. Yeah, not much else to say about it. Line trimmer, works well, nice and solid. Good little unit at the end there. Nothing feels really flimsy or loose. All the Ego stuff is really well built. Some of the other line trimmers and things that I've had for years, all still standing up like 3 or 4 years time after using them. So yeah, I can definitely vouch for the longevity of the plastic and the stuff that they use. So well built, good little guard. You got the cutter here, so when your bump feed comes out, that'll just cut it off to the length that you need. And a good guard that shields you from most of that stuff that flies up. Line trimmer. Next we have the hedger. All right, the hedger itself's got a 26mm cut capacity. It's got a dual action blade. The blades that come out of these are super sharp. They always put a really good quality blade on these, so I'm quite impressed with how good that cuts through. At the top here with this handle where you can adjust that, there's 12 different articulate settings that you can go around. So whether you want that, as I showed in the video, 90 degrees, whether you want to go straight up, you've got plenty of room to muck around with that one. Inside these, you've got a solid steel shaft, so again, good quality. Can't rave enough about the quality, but you guys get the gist. But have a look at that one. Again, if you need a hedger, very easy to use. Whether you want to have it flat, it's totally up to you. So you've got a lot of good options where you can lock that one in. Great little hedger. Next little attachment is pretty basic. This is basically just a pole extension. Clip that into the end of the multi-head, or the power head I should say, and then you've got that extra meter. Whether you want to chop things down with a branch, or you've got a large head you need to trim, that should get you out of trouble. Extension bit. All right, and now the pole chainsaw. Save the best to last. Absolutely love this thing. You got a 250mm blade depth you've got here. They use an Oregon chain, so that brand Oregon's really good, so nice and sharp, good quality. I think it's about a 220ml capacity for your bar oil that you put in here. Weight is 1.89 kilos, so nice and light. But the thing I love about this is just being able to get to those hard to reach spots, whether you're knocking off a limb or a branch of a tree. With that pole attachment, you can get up and reach those really hard spots. I also like the fact that you can actually get in, even if something's down on the ground, you can actually just chop things up from a distance, so you don't have to walk right in. Say there's like a lot of bush that you don't want to get into just with a chainsaw, where you might have to walk through the long grass. You can grab this thing and just reach out and then just sort of, knock that to lengths, get the brush cutter, cut a little bit of a path, go in, and don't have to battle that scrub. So yeah, nice little unit. I love the Ego stuff. Been using it for years. The best thing about it, it's battery powered. You know, you don't have to mix up the fuel. You're not running around looking for two-stroke oil. You don't have to deal with the loud noises that come from this. Alright guys, if you want to know pricing and stuff like that, I'll put a link below to Ego's website, and then just do your research, which stockist you want to get it through here in Australia. Tool suppliers and companies you can get that from, and they'll have different deals from time to time on prices, whether you buy the skin separately or whether you buy it as a pack. Alright, hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, give it a thumbs up, like or subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers guys.